Congratulations! You are at the right place at the right time to start your day with a lightning bolt of energy. Most news programming, morning talk shows, or other podcasts are not launching you into your day or accessing even a fraction of your greatness and potential. If you want more money in less time with more magic, and if you want to find what works to scale your sales and business with the actionable formula of formulas, then the Unblinded Huddle is the #1 way to start your day with an infusion of integrity-based human influence. With your host, Sean Callagy and the Unblinded team, and the entire Unblinded movement.
Good morning, good morning. Hope everybody is absolutely wonderful on this very special day. We have a very important person back with us today. Fernando, share some love, my man.
What is going on, everyone? Super happy to be here. Super happy to be back with all of you. How are we doing, amazing family? Excited for just the level of innovation and the people and everything. And I'm like back, ready, better than ever. Energy through the wazoo. And I just want to take a quick second as Mr. Callagy jumps in and say thank you for all the love that I've been receiving from all of you. It has been literally almost brought me to tears. It has brought me to tears. Thank you so much for your constant love, your support. I just want you to know it's been felt. My family's felt it. And I'm super grateful to be back. And what's happening, Jared, I know we have a lot going on today. So yes. So welcome back, everybody. I'm here. I got a couple new background. I've innovated like crazy through the time that we've been waiting. And I am pumped because the energy, the news, the excitement, and what's happening is insane. And there he is, the man himself, Mr. Callagy. What's up, sir?
How are you, sir? And welcome back, Fernando. It is awesome to have you back. There is deep and great concern about your health and the health of all your loved ones and family. So we are super happy that you're back from this, and our thoughts and prayers are still with Martha and her for her loss and her family. But welcome back, brother. For those that don't know, Fernando's been out for a little bit. If it's your first day on the Huddle, he's been out not feeling well for a bit. And his wonderful significant other, Martha, who's very much a part of our Unblinded ecosystem, lost her beloved uncle. Her dad is quite ill, so please keep them and her brother is recovering in your thoughts and prayers. So, Fernando, it is Thankful Thursday, and what is present for me is I am thankful that you are here, and I'm extraordinarily thankful for our incredible and wonderful guest for today. So let's jump right in.
Let's do it. So let's start off with the Joseph McClendon III. So outside of the fact that he is the reason that my 13-year-old niece and my 8-year-old nephew shake their ass every time they see me, he is also a doctor of neuropsychology and one of the most sought after peak performance coaches. He has presented to over 3 million people, and he's partnered with best-selling author and speaker Tony Robbins. Sean, that is Joseph McClendon III.
And Joseph McClendon III is also a best-selling author in his own right and author of 7 books. I add, Joseph, you have been an amazing impact on inspirational lives of millions and mine. Welcome, sir.
So Joseph just dropped off, so I'm calling him to get him back on. So why don't you guys talk as I get him back on here?
Okay. So yeah, I'll just go into Joseph for, actually, I'll go into some other couple dynamics. So yesterday, and Jared, just interrupt as soon as we have Joseph back on the line and ready. So yesterday, for anybody that missed it, was an extraordinary day where we put a flag in the ground and claim the space of what Unblinded truly is and how we're accelerating. It's not a program. It's not a series of programs. It is a way of thinking, functioning, integrity-based marketing, integrity-based selling, and truly deepening the mechanism of unlocking the superpower of influence.
Sean Joseph's coming back on right now. He just called me. He got dropped off.
Okay, and true depth of connection. Joseph, are you there yet, sir?
Not yet. He's coming on right now. He just called me. He'll be back in 1 minute.
We have him, Jared. Just let's go live, right? So just let me know as soon as he's on. Thank you.
Yep.
And Fernando, what was your perspective? Just like if you had one word, your perspective on yesterday's Unblinded Business Accelerator session.
My perspective in one word was, I'm gonna use three, about damn time.
About damn time. What does that mean to you?
About damn time. You have been painting this vision, sir, of hundreds of thousands of people talking on stages in front of thousands, hundreds, and 10,000s since I've met you. And I've been wondering and wondering and wondering, and I saw pockets of it happening. And yesterday was flag in the ground, Sean Callagy style. I was in the back quietly listening, just in pride, because the time is now. It is no longer a vision or a thought. Never did I doubt it was going to happen, but now it's real. And now not only is it real for you and for me, it's real for the thousands of people within our movement, because I know what you want more than anything in the world is not for us to look at you and be like, wow, Sean's amazing. It's for everyone here to make more money in less time with more magic. And there is no faster, greater, more precise plan than what was launched yesterday. And I'm just grateful to see the excitement in the chats, the tens, the energy, the fire emojis. This is everything we dreamt of. This is peopleification at its best. And I'm just super grateful to be seeing it and been a fly on the wall and see it be launched yesterday.
Amazing, brother. Jared, how we doing with Joseph?
He's not on yet, but I'm going to call him again right now.
Okay, having a little technical difficulty, guys. Our apologies. So yeah, having 325 people plus assembled live and staying there for the full hour in a period of what was about 24, maybe 36 hours maximum, without $1 of paid advertising, without $1 of amplifying any messaging, simply because there's so many.
Joseph McClendon is present and he is in the house.
Joseph McClendon, sir, it is an honor and a privilege, and welcome and good morning.
Good morning to you, and it's so good to see you, my friend, even though it's virtual. Both of you.
Yes. Yeah, amazing, Joseph. And so how you been doing? Like, what's been happening, and how's life and Corona treating you and your world?
Sean, I have been having the time of my life. Contrary to a lot of people, I am enjoying it. I have not gotten on an airplane in almost 2 months now, and I'm enjoying the fruits of my previous year's labors, just enjoying my home, enjoying my son, and enjoying my family and all those things. So.
And Joseph, how is your beautiful son doing? How's he adapting to the world of Corona?
He told me the other day, Sean, he said, Dad, he said, and because he's doing internet-based schooling and he's on his own. It's so great. They started it pretty quickly, his school. And so he goes into his room at 9 a.m. in the morning, comes out at noon, and goes back at 1:30, and then comes out at almost 4 o'clock, and it's straight through. And so he said, Dad, this is not that much different than regular school, and it's not that much different than our regular life when you're home.
Amazing. So, and I know you've been making a lot of TV appearances of late and appearing all over the place. So thank you. It's an honor to have you here. You know, how has this been for just you? Like what's been good about this time for you and your business and acceleration and thoughts? Like what's present for you?
Well, a couple things. Number one, I was fortunate, and I think you and I talked about this before, in that this is probably my 5th or 6th in my lifetime global and economic crisis. You know, all the way back to things like the 9/11 and the recessions of a few years ago and all those things. So years ago, I learned to prepare for this. And so I was prepared coming up for it. And so I've been able to do a lot of things that, because I traveled, I was not able to do. One example being, Sean, that I wanted to start a podcast for 2.5 years. And I wanted to do it myself, though. I didn't want to just hire somebody to do it for me and everything. And I wanted to do that. And I started working on it a month ago. I found a really great company to work with. And my first podcast got launched yesterday.
Congratulations. And what's the name of it, Joseph?
The name of the podcast is Cure for the Common Life. And you, my friend, if you would honor me as being one of my guests, I would be honored
Joseph,
to do that.
I would be beyond honored. And let me just contextualize this for a second. I read, and I always like to be precise, I believe it was Unlimited Power, A Black Choice. Was that the name of, your bestseller?
Correct.
One of your bestsellers. And I read that book. You'd be like, why'd you read that book? Anything at that time that I could consume that I thought would give me a rounded perspective on life and the world, and I guess I still live in this space, for somebody as incredible as yourself, I was committed to reading. So I saw Joseph as for what he is, an iconic person in the space of human acceleration. You know, we can use lots of words, but I'll call it human breakthrough and acceleration. And so just the dynamic of then having seen Joseph speak live in front of, 20,000 people, and having had the privilege to see him live in more intimate environments as well. This is one of the greatest speakers in the world, and somebody who lives his talk at the highest level. So I just want to establish that. And Joseph is also, I guess, classically or traditionally trained, as well as being holistically trained in the space of personal development. And you have just immense genius in the depths of neuropsychology as well, Joseph. And so if you wouldn't mind sharing how those two things have integrated in your help and support of people.
Absolutely. And it's ironic you talked about the book. My dear friend and mentor, Les Brown, let's just say inspired me to write another book. That's one. Just kind of put a tag on the last question that you asked. The last thing I wanted to do was to write another book. I don't like to write. It's not my favorite thing to do, but I've written 6 books. And this will be my 7th book. And Les called me a few weeks ago, actually just a little over a month ago, and said, listen, let's do something together, because we've been wanting to do it for a long time. And he inspired me to do it. And all of my books, I think the quickest book I've ever written, Sean, has taken me 9 months. And there have been ones that have taken me a couple years. But I'm finishing the book today, and it's been a month.
Congratulations, Joe. That's amazing. Can you reveal title, or it's too soon?
Yeah. The title is called Dare to be Magnificent. And it's the 5 elements of greatness that I learned from my father.
Amazing.
And, it's my favorite book written so far. But to answer your question, my profession is I'm a neuropsychologist. I have a doctorate in neuropsychology. And I always tell people that the difference between traditional psychology and neuropsychology is this. I'm trained in both, but traditional psychology, I have one way of interacting with you and entering your world, and that is through my voice to your ears. And so that way is very effective. It's just that we all have 5 senses, and those are all input senses, and the combination of those 5 is what makes us who we are. The varying order or syntax in which we use those. Some people, I can say something to them and they make a picture in their mind first. Some people make a feeling first, and so that combination. So as a neuropsychologist, if you look at neuro as being your 5 senses, and 3 of them are the main ones that I work with, but I can work with all 5. I have 5 ways of entering your world. And if I can find out that with just a few questions what your combination of those 5 are, then I can enter your world much, much quicker, help you figure out what it is that you want, and then and create a plan and a process to help you get there. And so, for instance, if you come into my office, and I had a practice in Los Angeles for many, many years. You come into my office and you have a fear of dogs. I'm going to have a conversation with you before you come into my office. But take a guess what's going to be in my office when you come in my office.
I'm going to guess perhaps a dog.
A dog. And at the end of that session, you're going to hold that dog, and you're going to be comfortable with that dog. And it's all because I'm going to work with your syntax and other areas of just me talking to you. Because the old saying is, if I tell you something, you may believe me. And you probably will, but with some trepidation, because you got the weight of your references on your mind and on your life. But if you tell you something, you're going to believe it. So my job is to help you tell you what is best for you so that you get the result. And so the combination of the neurosciences with the, let's just say, the skill set of helping people, coaching people and mentoring people, it works hand in hand. So it's a great fit.
Extraordinary. So now, in that regard, I have been using the word disruption, and when we thank you for you so graciously and generously participating in our event around Tony Robbins' birthday the next morning. on public speaking and your genius and how to create and assemble public speaking engagements. And you reminded me of the word scotoma, right?
Yeah.
And so I'd love to talk about scotomas for a bit, because I believe that the reason most people struggle, I mean, there's a lot of reasons, and this is what we cover in our work, that people struggle so much in influence and going from hello to yes, is because people, as soon as they feel the energy of being influenced, they sniff it, that this resistance, which I call a default no, arises. So a scotoma, which I would love you to explain, or what I was referring to as a disruption, and you gave me the appropriate neuropsychological term for it, is the disruption of that so we can be heard anew in like a blank space. So would you mind just sharing a little bit of your thoughts on that, how scotomas work? And then I'm going to lead into what we're doing with the real raw. And I'm so interested in your professional opinion about it after today, to really, because I'm not sure we've chatted about it yet in full, like in any detail. And I'm excited to see how this fits into scotomas and experiential disruptions and all the things that we're talking about. But first, let's talk about scotomas and default no's, and what do you think about like the need for disruption when people begin to feel like they're being influenced?
Oh, sure. Well, first off, some people try to change things, how they behave, how they think, and all those things, without doing anything about the underlying challenge. It's kind of like putting a Band-Aid on, on cancer. Unless you deal with the underlying challenge, it's going to come back. So a scotoma is the result. Well, first off, a scotoma is just a blank spot in the mind. Look at it that way. Okay. And it is the result of something called a pattern interrupt. You can cause a scotoma. The best way that I can describe it is this. We've all had the situation where we go, you're sitting in your living room and you go, I got to go into the kitchen and get an ink pen. And you stand up and you walk into the kitchen. All of a sudden you're standing in the kitchen going, what the hell did I come in here for? And that is a scotoma right there. You got a blank spot in your mind. But the great part about it is that we can use that to, as you just said, take them out of that schism, if you will, or that automatic default to no, or backing off, or closing up. And so the way to do that is, if you go back to that example that I just used, when you are in a specific state of mind, of focus and physiology, if you radically interrupt that by standing up or doing something in that moment, then you create a scotoma. It's automatic. You can't stop it. It's just that way. Another example is you're talking to somebody on the phone and you hear beep, and it's call waiting, right? So you go and you're having a great in-depth conversation with somebody, and you go away to that other call and you come back to your original call and you can't remember what you were talking about. Well, that beep interrupted your pattern. And so the beauty of it is I look at a scotoma as being a vacuum, Sean, and nature always wants to fill up a vacuum. And so if somebody's fearful, for example, if somebody comes into my office, they get a fear of dogs. I walk them into the office, they see a dog, and all of a sudden they go into fear. And all I have to do is interrupt their pattern. I may throw a glass of water on them. I used to have this horn, one of those real loud siren horns, like that. And so in the middle of fear, I beat that horn, or I throw the water on them. And guess what? For that one moment, while they're in the scotoma, they're no longer afraid. Matter of fact, they're pissed off at me because I did that to them. And they're looking over here, but I got that scotoma, and I can put whatever I want in that moment because it's a vacuum.
Yeah. So Joseph, is it fair to say, thank you for this. This is, I'd love to do this like 12 hours a day for a month with you. Like, this is amazing. So is it fair to say that your speaking career, which is representative of one of the greatest of all time in this country and the world, was launched, this is my perspective, so I'm curious for your reaction, because as you told the story, was launched because you created a scotoma and filled the void so masterfully when you first stepped into filling in for Tony Robbins, and then created your own world and identity at that first event when people were resistant to you. Is that fair to call that you created scotoma and then you filled it in with how you disrupted the people? Is that a fair encapsulation or no?
It's not only fair, it's spot on.
Yeah. So please, would you mind sharing that story?
Yeah, I was fortunate that even before I met Tony, I had already had my master's in psychology, and I had already learned about neurolinguistics, and I'd already learned about psychology. And so I knew this that you were talking about, and it started to become second nature to me because I was a therapist. And so what happened, very long story short, Sean, was we were in Australia, and and we used to do the 4-day UPW, and I was never on stage. I was the head trainer, and my job was I would manage all of the trainers. It was all Tony. And the Monday we would do the health seminar, and I got a call Sunday night from Tony, and he said, "Joseph, would you do day number 4 for me?" And I basically told him, "Nope, nope. I'm not prepared. I've never been on stage to do that before. And I wasn't really a speaker. I'd done a couple things, but I wasn't really a speaker, and I wasn't prepared." And he just said, and long story short, he influenced me to do so. And I said, "Okay, we'll get all the information."
He created a scotoma and then filled it in.
Yeah, he's pretty great. And so they sent over the information. I stayed up all night long, Sean, and I studied all the stuff and everything, and I was ready to go. And of course, I'd seen it several times, so I was ready to go. And I was confident that I'd show up and do a kick-ass job and really, really tear the roof off of the thing. But there was only one problem. Tony didn't tell them that he wasn't going to be there. And so I showed up. It was in Australia, and wonderful people, Australian. And I showed up there expecting them just to fall in love with me. And they fall in love with Tony for all the obvious and right reasons the night before. And here I show up there. And I come out on stage, and I go, "Hi, everybody, how are you doing?" And I, start talking about, "My name's Joseph, and I'm doing this." And I started watching people get up and leave. It was like a mass exodus walking out of the room. And they were like, "Yeah, who are you?" Blah, blah, and they were walking out. And right at the peak of it, and remember, when you're most scared, that is the best time to utilize a pattern interrupt, and when at the height of it. So they're walking out the room. Now I got the microphone, right? So I got all the speakers, and I just yelled, and I go, "Hey, stop right where you are. Stop where you are. I know what you're thinking. You're looking at me right now, and you're judging me right now." And I got this look on my face, and I'm angry. "You're judging me right now. You're looking at me, and you were expecting a 6'7" white guy, and you got a 5'9" black guy, and you're judging me, and you're thinking of me, what is this guy? You're thinking of me, you're looking at me, and you're thinking, look at him. He is amazing. Oh my God. He is gorgeous. He's handsome. He's smart." And I'm planting all this stuff in their mind. And so in that moment, obviously what I did was I interrupt their pattern, and they're going like this. And then I put in what I wanted them to hear. And I said, "So turn around and come on back. I'm going to share some stuff with you. I'm just as surprised as you are. And so let's have a good time. I'm going to represent Tony in a way that nobody else can." And I went on and on. And from that UPW, I've done every single one. And that was 22 years ago. I only missed one. And the reason I missed that one was because I showed up at the airport, and I didn't realize that my passport had expired. And so I couldn't make that. So that was the impetus of my doing that event.
Yeah. So, but for Joseph and everybody listening, Joseph's incredible ability to understand the absolute necessity of not speaking into the resistance, the wall, the close, and the default no, and create a scotoma and then fill it in, maybe things are different. You probably would have found many other ways to do it, but that was a seminal, pivotal moment. And in that moment, that awareness of, and Joseph, what I like to share about this concept is you shared truth. Because people so often, I'd love your thoughts on this, and then we'll bring it home just in a moment, folks. Perfect. I'd love your thoughts on this. So often people confuse mix together influence and something wrong and manipulative. Yeah. If you didn't reveal that truth, those people would have lost out on sharing. And you lovingly in such a fun energy called it your amazingness, but your brilliance, your ethic, your teaching, how to replicate what you did that day, how to change their life, they would have missed if you didn't have the skill set through your incredible influence mastery to reveal that. And so often people go, "Oh, okay, sales, like, all right, we're going to manipulate, we're going to hook them, we're going to get them, we're going to do," like, no. You revealed truth. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree with you. Part of my truth is, Sean, even back then, even with that, I approach things as I'm here to serve. I'm here to help people. To me, influence is really just giving people the opportunity to open up and them get what they want. Not me persuading them or coercing them or even tricking them, because there's so much of that going on nowadays. There's so much, people walk into a situation and they've, if they've been watching television for a while, they have been attacked, in my opinion, and just put in front of your face, look at this, you need this. And people are smart enough now to recognize that they're being advertised to all the time. And that is why they have that default no that you talk about. And so I wipe all that stuff away and I just give them the opportunity to, allow me into their space. And part of the way that I do that, and you so masterfully do this as well, is just care about them. Is just love them and care about them first. Because as Maya Angelou always said, that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And then, and when they do, and you create that connection, then they're open. That opens them up and they go, okay, and from a selfish standpoint, it's all about, what's in it for me on their side. They're going, okay, they don't know they're saying this, but they want some value. They're coming to you for some value. And if you can provide them with the comfort that you care about them, then they're open to what value you're going to help them with.
Extraordinary. And Joseph, that's exactly what we're doing with the Real Raw role play, because I've been solving for a long time for the challenge. How do you demonstrate this stuff? How do you demonstrate in a condensed, repetitive format for people with some fun and some different dynamics how integrity-based influence works, how these type of concepts play out? So I'm so thankful that you're going to be on today. I'm really looking forward post-game to getting your impressions on it and how it serves people and works and does that, or how it doesn't. So I am deeply honored that you're going to be on today and so thankful.
My pleasure, my friend.
Yeah. And then final, it's early for you. I am very grateful. What, and again, always in our authentic openness, what are you seeing about Unblinded? Like, what's got you saying, yeah, I'll come on there and have a conversation. What do you see present and what makes you curious?
Well, first off, the thing that I see in this whole thing, and it's more what I feel than I see. I'm that kind of person.
Thank you for that. Yep. What are you feeling? Yep.
What I feel is that this is providing a service to people, especially now while people are sequestered in their homes and people are hungry for something other than Netflix and things like that. And people are hungry for something that they can do and learn and practice now, so that on the other side of it, and this is gone, because this too shall pass, that they're able to thrive. And I think people that are hungry for that and they search for that, they attracted this into their lives. You know how I roll about that. And so you're providing that oasis of not just knowledge, but of heart to people. And it really is, I love the title, Unblinded. You're taking the blinders off of people that have, let's just say, skepticism or pessimism about themselves, about other people, about the world around them. And this is just a huge, huge opportunity for people to be able to get that type of knowledge, that type of experience, that type of wisdom from others, because I'm honored to be one of those people, and I appreciate your kind words. And I'm not the only one. You're bringing the best of the best to people, and I think that's spectacular.
And you are, sir. And so Joseph McClendon, we're going to roll in just a moment into that Real Raw. Best-selling author, world-class speaker, and most importantly, world-class father and human being, serving people all over the world by the millions. Joseph, it has been an honor this morning. I'm excited for the Real Raw. Thank you, brother.
My pleasure, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Fernando,
yes, sir.
Joseph McClendon, sir, chat, what's happening? We got any comments out there? And we're going to unlock anybody before we take it home and go to Real Raw.
Chat is on fire. I want to just give a shout out to Tish. I want to give a shout out to Craig, Dimple, Anthony. We have Dr. V, and just so many beautiful souls that are excited, sharing their thoughts, and just everyone's super pumped for your new podcast, Joseph. Thank you again for dropping the name on here. And we've actually have a stage set up in like a couple minutes where everyone is expecting a 5'9" black guy to not only shake his A, but to kick some A, because the Real Raw role play is coming up. So that is the end of today's huddle. Super grateful and honored to have my first one back with you, sir. And that's all. It's Katoma City. Let's do it.
Let's go right into the Real Raw. Thank you, Joseph McClendon. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And let's go get it. See you on the Real Raw. Massive action on Thankful Thursday. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Joseph.
Now it's time to break through and crush fear and distortion. What is the one zone action step that will help you most today to make more money in less time and with more magic, and contribute value to the Unblinded ecosystem? After you crush it, then head over to our private Facebook community at www.unblindedmovement.com to share your big win for the day. If you feel great about the Unblinded Huddle, please share your win for today and any questions you may have for us, along with a 5-star review so we can reach more like-minded people like you. And if you have not already subscribed, please visit www.unblindedhuddle.com to be part of our live ecosystem audience for each morning huddle so that we can help you see what you don't see about the fun, excitement, and magic of exponentially growing your sales.